The elite top 10 backcourts you're about to see I'm ranking based off how beastly each pair of guards combine to be. In the perimeter-dominated age, it's impossible to have any success in the NBA without great guard play, meaning whichever tandem ranks first could make the championship difference, so stay tuned to find out the best backcourt entering the 2020 season. Shout out to Marcos, who says Cedi Osman and Derek White are the most underrated NBA players, and also goes off the board to give respect to Jonathan Isaac and DeJounte Murray. Marcos with a great take as always. Leave your take on tonight's question for next video shoutout. Appreciate everybody. Number 10, Goran Dragic and Jimmy Butler. Combining for 19 NBA seasons, Miami's starting point and shooting guard are the second most experienced backcourt in this top 10. Goran's entering his 12th season. He had knee surgery last December and only played 36 games last year, yet at 33 years of age, Dragic's still just 1 year removed from an all-star appearance and then shooting nearly 47% from the field in the postseason. President Pat Riley's 2015 trade of Norris Cole, Justin Hamilton, Danny Granger, Sean Williams, and 2 future picks to steal Dragic from Phoenix is already looked back on as an absolute robbery, but it's ultimately going to pay off even more for Miami simply because now they've got their second All-Star and All-NBA player in the backcourt after signing Jimmy Buckets. The 4-time All-Defensive guard Butler has big shoes to fill from the former franchise player and now his predecessor D. Wade, but Miami couldn't ask for a better two-way shooting guard than Jimmy to try and replace Dwayne. Number 9, De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield. Quick flashback to July 31st, 2018. But with a year of pro experience under his belt, Fox is ready to make the Sacramento Kings legit again. Maybe De'Aaron didn't get the Kings to the playoffs, but Fox's significant improvement in 2019 got them their most wins of this decade and back on the road to legitimacy. He wasn't alone though, because beside him at the 2 was the man who led Sacramento in scoring with 20.7 points per night and was the NBA's 7th most efficient three-point shooter, Buddy Hield. Turning 27, he's entering his prime, yet still on his rookie contract. But Sacktown can offer him a 5-year, $158 million deal until the extension deadline on October 21st, before he hits restricted free agency in 2020. Amongst 5 of the league's top players in fast break points, Curry, Westbrook, Durant, Paul George, and Giannis, De'Aaron Fox ranked 4th and Buddy Hield was the leader. That elite up-and-down production's a result of what happens when you pair maybe the fastest player in the NBA and a thriving slasher De'Aaron Fox next to one of the league's most efficient shooters, a sniper in Buddy Hield. Number 8 is Victor Oladipo and Malcolm Brogdon. When the Pacers' 2-time All-Star, 2018 steals leader, most improved player, and a member of the All-NBA third team last year, Oladipo returns from surgery after rupturing his quad in January, Indiana has a damn elite guard combo. Their new starting point guard was ranked the number 1 most underrated player on my Every Teams list last Friday, but 2019-20 is where you'll start to give him his due respect. I somehow didn't mention last vid that Brogdon joined the 50-40-90 club with his stats last year, one of 9 players in NBA history to shoot 50% from the field, 40% from the three-point line, and 90% from the free throw line. Other than Mark Price, who was a 4-time All-Star, everyone else who's done that is either a Hall of Famer or a future Hall of Famer. Malcolm's proved he can be a prominent catalyst within a successful offense in Milwaukee, which will perfectly complement a player who thrives creating like Victor. Oladipo's injury scares me though. He's probably not going to be back until December, which is why Victor and Malcolm are only ranked 8th. Hopefully Victor can come back and prove me wrong. Number 7, Jamal Murray and Gary Harris. Gary's coming off a hip injury which slowed down his progression last year. 2 years ago, after turning just 23, Harris's 4th season saw him average a career best and a very efficient 17.5 points per game. In that season, which was 2017-18, his shooting splits of at least 80% from the free throw line, 39% from three-point range, and 48% from the field were matched by only 5 other NBA players, who all have been All-Stars. Next to him at point guard, Jamal Murray's coming off a partial breakout in the 2019 playoffs where he averaged 21, 5, and 5, but Murray's yet to take the leap defensively, and he needs to improve his percentages. Thankfully, Jamal's 3 years younger than the 25-year-old Gary Harris, so there's at least 2 or 3 years until we see the peak version of Murray, a player who will have added a ton of strength and gained valuable shot-creating experience. Based off this guard combo's youth, you might be staring at the league's top backcourt in 1 to 3 years. Number 6, Caris, Levert, and Kyrie Irving. Brooklyn's soon-to-be 4-year pro shooting guard Caris Levert needed only 29 minutes per game over 5 playoff games to score 105 points and make nearly half of his field goals in the process. Given the electric quickness possessed by Caris, when you mix in his ability to change speeds, create off the dribble, and shoot from distance, Levert's a mismatch at 6'7", with a 6'10" wingspan. Shifting to Levert's match with the recently failed leader in Boston, Kyrie Irving, I think personality-wise, which is crucial when undertaking Kyrie discussion, the maturity level from Caris will be a great adjustment for Irving from playing with Brown and Tatum. The Nets have dealt with dire circumstances this decade in terms of their loss of draft picks in the 2012 Pierce Garnett deal, and somehow built a playoff squad and a winning culture from it. Point is, if Kyrie comes in and messes things up like he did with the young one win from the finals Celtics, his reputation's going to take an even bigger hit than it already has with the flat earth ordeal amongst other things. He's still that stone-cold killer from the 2016 finals, and Uncle Drew is only beginning his prime at 27. If he can keep it together with the impressive Nets, then he and Caris Levert could rank higher than number 6. Number 5, Mike Conley and Donovan Mitchell. The Spider D. Mitch will have significantly more help than ever before as he enters just his 3rd season. You could say the same for the 12-year vet Conley, who goes from the developing Grizzlies being the primary scoring option, double-teamed every game, to turning a playoff team in the Jazz into a contender. Not even a week after Conley was signed, the newly assembled backcourt was already working out together. Mike can pass like Rubio with his near 6 assists per game. What he can do at a level that isn't close to Ricky, though, is shoot and score consistently. Conley's coming off a career-high 21.1 points per game last year. This man's extremely overlooked and without a doubt is and has been an elite all-star caliber point guard for the majority of the 2010s. Last year, an incredible amount of pressure to handle the ball was put on Donovan for the Jazz. At times, he was thrown in at point guard. Conley's presence allows for Mitchell to return to his natural shooting guard ways. This is an extremely dynamic combo that could take the impressive new Jazz very far in the playoffs. Number 4, Ben Simmons and Josh Richardson. One of the legendary NBA moments of the year just happened and we're still in the preseason. Ben Simmons went viral all summer with his shot making. I thought it was because of the lack of competition, but as you probably saw, he drained a deep-range bomb. The fact that it was 4 to 5 feet behind the three-point line I think is a great sign. Just look at the follow-through, the perfect, fundamentally sound 1-2 step into the seamless landing, which all led to the impressively high arc on the shot. This was a big-time moment for the newly assembled Sixers core because Simmons is one of the best slashers in the NBA and a top defender at his position. If he can even be somewhat of a threat, I mean, he doesn't have to shoot that consistently, that great, but if he can be somewhat of a threat, then that opens up so much for his slashing and just his overall game in general. Simmons and the number 13 ranked player on my underrated list, Josh Richardson, displayed what you're likely going to see all of 2019-20 in Philly's preseason opener: inside and out unstoppability. Richardson knocked down 3 of his patented three-pointers, 2 of them coming from Simmons' passes. Josh is a tremendous complementary scoring option for the Sixers, who've got a great core in place to make a title run. Number 3, Steph Curry and DeAngelo Russell. Some are predicting the 31-year-old and already 3rd in all-time three-pointers made Curry will have 500 threes this season. Actually, that was only former NBA guard and Clay's father, Michael Thompson, who predicted that.
By the way, I predict Steph's going to have a 500 threes this year without having to share the ball.
Steph's 40-point preseason debut could persuade some others to make that prediction. D'Lo requires his fair share of touches, though, and with Golden State's deep playoff history for 5 years now, there's a lot of mileage that's been racked up by the chef. He's the main reason the Warriors' backcourt is 3rd on this list. I'm simply saying the regular season's usually a time where Steve Kerr's cautious with Curry, being that Steph just announced he'll play 6 more NBA seasons and is on the verge of 32. Resting him at times and potentially on back-to-backs is likely now more than ever for the Warriors organization. The youth of DeAngelo is a perfect solution to that, however, and with the generationally great Curry out on the perimeter when Russell slashes like his typical self, this is maybe the best drive and kick in the NBA. Question I have is, can deloading bring his game to the next level in the spring? He shot just 34.5% in 5 games against the Sixers, a brutal shooting display in his playoff debut, so that's the reason why this guard combo isn't ranked higher than number 3. Number 2, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. A lot has to change for CJ, Dame, and the Blazers after getting swept in the West Finals last May, though we shouldn't forget their run to get 4 wins from the finals. First, they publicly shamed the OKC Thunder in round 1 with both a game winner and then Paul George calling that game winner a lucky shot. There's no doubting with Damian's playoff history mixed with his 33 points per game averages in that series and the 50 points he had in the game that the shot was a stone-cold clutch dagger. In the next closeout opportunity for Portland, it was Denver like OKC getting a taste of a Blazer guard dropping buckets on them, this time in the form of CJ McCollum, who hit 17 of 29 field goals to stun the hyped young Nuggets on their home floor. It's nothing less than a nightmare for guards to slow them down when they both get a rhythm. But the beauty of the Blazers' backcourt is when either one has an off night, the other picks them up. Very rarely both Dame and CJ are struggling at the same time. Of course, Golden State fans have something to say about that, but the Splash Brothers aren't currently intact. It's a Warrior core at its weakest point in years, and Dame and CJ are talented, hungry for rings guards in their prime, with their head on straight in terms of leadership and personality, will make more noise than you'll expect in 2020. Before the desired number 1 spot, the honorable mentions, which shows why it's the era of beastly guards and why this was a tough list to narrow to 10. Ricky Rubio and Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns, Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart of the Boston Celtics, Trae Young, Kevin Huerter of the Atlanta Hawks, Chris Paul, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the OKC Thunder, Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday of the New Orleans Pelicans, and DeJounte Murray and Derek White of the San Antonio Spurs. Number 1, Russell Westbrook and James Harden. I'm aware Russ was the tumultuous factor in his relationships ending with 2 of the NBA's most elite small forwards in PG and the Snake. But oddly, that's exactly the reason I think things will be a different story in Houston. Because taking more shots than Harden in the playoffs like he did with Paul George last postseason will simply not fly. Westbrook will at some point inevitably be forced to take the back seat. Maybe he thinks he's realized that now, but I'm predicting at some point in the season, Harden and Westbrook are going to reach a breaking point, and the 2 former MVPs who thrive with the ball in their hands will ultimately realize what they have to do, and this altercation will be for the better of their chemistry. When it matters most, Westbrook's size, athleticism, defense, slashing are all upgrades from CP3, as well as his fit with Harden. To be fair, any backcourt would be a better fit personality-wise than James Harden and Chris Paul. Off the floor, these old teammates seem to be getting along already, and on the floor, they're 2 of the most competitive, fiery, and flashy talents in the NBA. If they find the chemistry by the postseason, which I expect, then the Houston Rockets have a great chance to bring home the franchise's 3rd title. If you're new and enjoyed the content, hit subscribe and join the best Hoops Talk community on the internet by answering the shoutout question. This was your boy D Flow. Have a great one. I'll see you next video.